Imagine building $1 billion empire,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? Like you've mapped out this flawless 10-year strategic vision. You've secured the board's approval. You've totally eliminated your competitors.
You're on top of the world.
Exactly. You are utterly convinced that you are the one dictating the trajectory of your reality. You just feel invincible.
I mean, we've all wanted to feel like that at some point.
For sure. But then, and here is the kicker, you realize the steering wheel you've been gripping so tightly isn't actually connected to the engine.
Oh, man. That is a terrifying thought.
It really is. And 3,000 years ago, an ancient king wrote down exactly why your 5-year plan, and honestly, our whole modern obsession with total control is largely an illusion.
Yeah, complete illusion.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are thrilled you're joining us.
Yeah.
Today we are exploring some truly timeless, honestly kind of jarring wisdom traditionally associated with Solomon.
Yeah, we're diving straight into the biblical text of Proverbs chapter 21.
Right. And for you listening, we've got these incredible excerpts from the text, plus some companion materials that really outline the ancient meanings and how they apply today.
It is an incredibly grounding piece of literature. I mean, the central lesson we're really extracting today is that true value and true security, well, it doesn't lie in our outward appearances.
Right.
Or our massive public rituals or our, frantic attempts to micromanage the universe. It actually lies in justice, humility, and a very disciplined approach to daily living.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because in an era where we are constantly bombarded with life hacks and like optimization algorithms.
There's so many algorithms.
Right. This ancient text just cuts straight through the noise to the core mechanics of human nature.
It really does.
And for you listening, our mission today is to briskly summarize the core of this text and its practical applications in the first half of our conversation.
Yeah, we want to keep it moving.
Exactly. Well under 9 minutes for that part, so that we can dedicate the second half to exploring how this wisdom radically transforms and strengthens our ultimate trust and relationship with God.
That trajectory makes perfect sense because, honestly, to understand how we are supposed to live our daily lives, we first have to establish who is actually driving the outcomes.
Right. Who holds the steering wheel?
Exactly. The text gives us this top-down view of reality. It opens with an incredibly striking image in verse 1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will."
It just hammers that same concept home at the end of the chapter, too.
Yeah, it does.
Verse 30 states plainly that there is no wisdom, no understanding, no counsel against the Lord.
Not at all.
And then verse 31 brings in this really vivid military imagery. He says, "The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord."
What's fascinating here is the sheer audacity of that claim when you actually look at the historical context.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, in the ancient Near East, kings were absolute. I mean, they were the apex of human authority.
Basically untouchable.
Right. They were often revered as semi-divine beings whose word was literal law. You didn't cross them. Yet this text boldly reduces the absolute ruler of the land to like a stream of water.
Wow. Just a stream of water.
Yeah. Think about ancient irrigation mechanisms. A farmer doesn't fight the fundamental nature of the water, right?
Oh, right. You can't really fight water.
Exactly. He simply digs a subtle trench, and the immense, unstoppable weight of that water naturally flows exactly where the farmer directs it, to nourish a specific field.
Oh, that's a brilliant analogy.
The text is claiming that even the most powerful human forces are subject to that kind of divine, subtle redirection.
Okay, so I'm trying to map this onto our modern world.
Yeah, let's do it.
Where the kings are, tech billionaires, heads of state, or institutional leaders.
The people calling the shots today.
Right. They are the ones spending massive resources preparing the horse for a battle, building the algorithms, writing the laws. But wait, if the outcome is totally out of our hands, isn't this just a recipe for complete fatalism?
I see where you're going with this.
I mean, why shouldn't I just sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing if God is going to decide the outcome of the battle anyway?
Right.
Like, why even bother preparing the horse?
Yeah, that is the exact tension the text wants you to wrestle with, but it absolutely rejects fatalism.
Okay, how does it do that?
Notice the mechanism in the verse. It explicitly acknowledges that the horse is prepared.
Oh, right. It says the horse is prepared.
Exactly. You still have to do the grueling work. You have to breed the horse, train it, forge the armor, drill the cavalry.
So you can't just be lazy.
No, not at all. The human agency is entirely in the preparation. But the sovereignty, the ultimate victory or safety, belongs to God.
Okay, I get it. So it's about separating our responsibility from the ultimate result.
Yes.
We are responsible for the inputs, but we just don't own the outputs.
Spot on. And for leaders today, or anyone managing a family or a small business, the implication is profound humility.
It really is.
You must execute your strategic plans, build your safety nets, do the hard work. But you have to remain deeply adaptable.
Because you know you aren't actually in control.
Right. Recognizing that your preparation does not magically bind the universe to your desired outcome.
Yeah. If we let go of that illusion of control over the grand outcomes, it forces a really uncomfortable pivot.
It does.
Because if I'm not in charge of the grand finale, well, what am I actually responsible for?
That's the million-dollar question.
And the text seems to shift the focus away from the battlefield in the throne room, right down into the pulpit mechanics of the human heart.
It zooms in dramatically, like right into the personal sphere. Verse 2 states, "Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts."
Oh, wow.
And it immediately pairs that in verse 3 with, "To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice."
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because verse 2 is basically documenting cognitive dissonance thousands of years before psychologists gave it a name.
Oh, absolutely. It's wildly ahead of its time.
Right. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes. We are just biologically wired to be the heroes of our own narratives.
We really are. We always think we're the good guy.
Exactly. Our brains will actively filter out information that threatens our ego, allowing us to endlessly justify our own actions.
Right. Like, I had a good reason for doing that.
Yes. We judge ourselves by our unseen noble intentions while we judge everyone else by their visible mistakes.
And that psychological mechanism is exactly why outward religious or ethical displays can be so deceptive.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, in the ancient world, animal sacrifice was a massive economic event. It was highly visible.
Like a public spectacle?
Exactly. You were taking valuable livestock, wealth that could literally feed your family for months, and burning it in a public, sensory-rich ceremony.
That's a huge deal.
It was the ultimate display of devotion. Everyone saw you doing it.
Okay, I'm trying to picture the modern equivalent of that. A massive ancient sacrifice is basically the equivalent of having your name engraved on a hospital wing today.
Right. That is the perfect analogy. Yes.
So verse 3 is essentially saying, God doesn't care about your hospital wing if you're quietly underpaying the nurses who work inside it.
Boom. Exactly that. Verse 27 reinforces this by calling the sacrifice of the wicked an abomination.
That's a strong word.
It is, especially when brought with ulterior motives. You cannot bribe the divine with public philanthropy if the daily mechanics of your life are rooted in exploitation. The text argues that the unseen, mundane moments of fairness, how you treat an employee, how you handle a customer's refund, how you speak to your spouse.
The stuff nobody posts on social media.
Exactly. That stuff carries infinitely more weight than a highly publicized ethical or spiritual display. The divine is pondering the reality of the heart, not the PR campaign of the ego.
That demands a really high level of self-policing, which naturally pushes us to look at how this internal integrity translates into the daily grind.
It does. It gets very practical.
Yeah, the text gets incredibly granular about the mechanics of our work, our living situations, and our broader community.
It does, starting with the economic reality of work. Verse 5 notes, "The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only to want."
Oh man, the psychology of the hasty person is just everywhere today.
It really is. It's all over the internet.
It's the dopamine hit of the shortcut. The crypto day trader looking for an overnight boom, or the influencer selling a 30-day masterclass to a six-figure income.
Yes, the endless hustle culture.
Exactly. We crave the hack.
Yeah.
But the text contrasts that with the diligent. And diligence is about compounding interest, both financially and morally.
That's a great way to put it. Compounding interest.
Right. It's the slow, unglamorous, steady repetition of doing things the right way.
And that steady repetition builds a foundation that doesn't collapse under pressure.
Because it's actually solid.
Exactly. The shortcut almost always relies on exploitation or extreme risk, which eventually leads to ruin. But the text moves beyond just acquiring wealth to evaluating the actual quality of the life you are building.
Okay, I love this part.
Verses 9 and 19 provide some incredibly vivid imagery. They state that it is better to dwell in a tiny corner of a housetop, or even out in the barren wilderness, than with a contentious or brawling partner in a wide, luxurious house.
We've all walked into a room where the relational tension is so thick, it literally raises your heart rate.
Oh, absolutely. You can feel it in the air.
It's fascinating that 3 millennia ago, they were identifying that chronic stress and toxic environments completely neutralize the benefits of physical luxury.
The human nervous system hasn't changed.
Right. All the square footage in the world doesn't matter if your nervous system is in constant fight or flight mode inside your own home.
Prioritizing emotional maturity, conflict resolution, and relational peace yields a vastly higher quality of life than merely accumulating a white house.
Yeah, the mansion isn't worth the misery.
Exactly. And this mechanism of care extends outward too. If you are fostering peace inside your home, it changes how you interact with the vulnerable outside your home.
That makes total sense.
Verse 13 delivers a pretty severe warning. It says, "Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard."
That's a chilling cause and effect.
It is.
It's detailing the mechanics of social isolation. Like, if you build a massive wall to insulate yourself from the suffering of your community, you are simultaneously building a wall that prevents any help from reaching you when your inevitable crisis hits.
Yeah, human survival has always relied on reciprocal community care. Empathy is not just a moral luxury.
Right.
It is the structural integrity of a society.
Yeah.
When a person hoards resources, like the foolish man in verse 20 who devours all his treasure, the community weakens.
It all breaks down.
But verse 26 contrasts that by describing the righteous as someone who gives and spares not. Generosity builds an interconnected web of mutual support.
Okay, so what does this all mean? We've kept our promise, right?
Yeah, we're making good time.
Moving briskly through the text's practical summary. Letting go of ultimate control, valuing private integrity over public hospital wings.
Emphasizing the compounding effort of diligent work.
Yes. And prioritizing relational peace and generosity. But as we transition to the second half of our deep dive, we need to answer the biggest question.
Let's hear it.
How does internalizing all this psychological and practical wisdom actually strengthen our ultimate trust and relationship with God?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the immediate result is a profound, life-altering sense of relief.
Relief. Wait, really? That's counterintuitive.
How so?
Being told that my heart is constantly being weighed and that my meticulously prepared horse might not even win the battle sounds incredibly stressful to me.
I can see that.
So how does that generate relief?
Think about the crushing psychological weight of being the sole architect of your universe.
Okay.
Verse 4 explicitly calls out a high look and a proud heart. Pride is exhausting.
That is so true.
If you believe that you are entirely responsible for the trajectory of your life, then every unexpected market downturn, every illness, every failure...
That's all on me.
Right. It becomes a direct indictment of your worth. You have to constantly manipulate your environment and manage everyone's perception of your wide house just to feel safe.
Ah, I see the mechanism there. Arrogance essentially forces us into a state of perpetual anxiety because we are trying to control variables that are mathematically impossible for us to control.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
But when you internalize verse 31, safety is of the Lord, you are suddenly freed from the burden of ultimate control.
You can just exhale.
Exactly. You realize the universe doesn't rest on your shoulders. Trusting God means you no longer have to frantically guarantee the victory.
That takes so much pressure off.
Your only job is to faithfully execute the daily, mundane tasks of justice and diligence.
It reframes the very definition of trust. Like, trusting God isn't about expecting him to magically endorse my hasty 5-year plan.
Nope, not at all.
Trust is choosing to act with integrity in the dark, knowing he handles the grand finale.
And that daily obedience actually builds the resilience of your faith. Verse 21 illustrates this beautifully.
What does that one say?
It says, "He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness, and honor."
That's beautiful.
When you pursue justice and mercy, not as a PR stunt, but as a core operating system, you naturally cultivate deep, trusting relationships with the people around you.
Right. People actually want to be around you.
Exactly. You gain authentic honor. But more importantly, you align yourself with the divine character.
It's a complete paradigm shift from self-reliance to God-reliance.
Total shift.
If my sense of safety is anchored to my bank account or my carefully curated reputation or my ability to out-hustle my competitors, I will always be fragile.
Super fragile. Because all of that can vanish.
Right. A single economic shift can wipe that out. But if my anchor is the realization that the king's heart is just water in a divine trench,
Mm.
it means no earthly power, no chaotic geopolitical event, and no personal tragedy is operating outside of a broader divine architecture.
This raises an important question about the nature of our anxiety. Modern anxiety is largely rooted in projecting into a future we cannot control.
We spend so much time worrying about next year.
Exactly. But this ancient wisdom pulls us forcefully back into the present moment. Can you control the economy? No.
Definitely not.
Can you control how you speak to your neighbor today? Yes. Can you control if your company succeeds? No. Can you act with absolute financial integrity on today's spreadsheet? Yes.
Wow, breaking it down like that makes it so manageable.
By surrendering the outcome and focusing intensely on the moral quality of your present actions, you are actively exercising trust in God.
I love that. By choosing the slow, diligent path over the hasty shortcut, I am essentially saying, I trust the divine mechanics of reality more than my own cleverness.
And over a lifetime, that creates a remarkably stable human being.
Someone who doesn't just blow over in the wind.
Exactly. You can face profound uncertainty without unraveling because your foundation isn't built on a guaranteed outcome.
Right.
It is built on a relationship with the ultimate judge who is actively pondering your heart and guiding the rivers of history.
That is a phenomenal lens through which to view our daily lives.
It really changes everything.
It does. So to recap our deep dive today, the teachings we've unpacked from Proverbs 21 demonstrate that a truly resilient, meaningful life is never built on empty rituals or the exhausting illusion that we control the universe.
Couldn't agree more.
It is built on the quiet, unglamorous mechanics of integrity, compassion, and the diligent surrender of our grandest plans.
It demands that we dismantle our own self-deception, prioritize the peace of our homes over the size of them, and recognize that while we must rigorously prepare the horse for battle,
We still got to do the work.
we do, but we ride onto the field with a profound reliance on divine sovereignty.
So as we wrap up this conversation, I want to ask you, the listener, a direct question. How will you apply this information in your life?
Yeah, what's the next step?
Exactly. When you look at your calendar, your career aspirations, or your relationships this week, what tangible changes will you make to prioritize integrity over appearances?
And to push that reflection just a bit further, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Lay it on us.
We spent a lot of time discussing the tension of preparing the horse for battle while knowing the victory belongs to God. But consider what happens after the battle.
Okay.
If the victory genuinely wasn't secured by your own brilliance, then neither is the glory.
Oh, wow.
So the next time you achieve a massive success, secure a promotion, or hit a major milestone, pay close attention to your immediate reaction.
That's a huge test.
Do you take the credit, fortifying the illusion of your own mastery? Or can you accept that success with the same deep humility, recognizing that you are merely the caretaker of a victory you did not ultimately guarantee?
Wow. Handling the credit for our success might actually be a harder test of our trust than surviving our failures.
It really exposes the heart, doesn't it?
It definitely does. That is something to sit with this week. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It's been an absolute privilege to explore this with you, and we'll catch you next time.